Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so you're a client, right? And you're getting ready to hire a designer for a brand new logo. You might think the whole process starts with them just, firing up their software and sketching away. But honestly, that couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, have you ever seen a truly disastrous logo and just wondered, how on earth did that happen? Well, 9 times out of 10, it's a lack of preparation. So today, we're going to totally demystify exactly why your professional graphic designer asks you so many questions before they draw a single line. It's kind of like building a house. Your project brief, that's the blueprint. And getting yourself ready to answer these questions is literally the most important part of the entire project. Think about it. When designers create something for themselves, they already know exactly what they want. But when they're designing for you, the client, they face this massive hurdle. Like this quote says, "A true pro isn't just drawing a pretty picture. Their primary goal is to get inside your head. They need to extract your precise needs and what you actually like. And hey, they aren't interrogating you, they're just trying to solve a giant puzzle. Because let's be real, sometimes as clients, we don't even fully know what we want ourselves. So a rigorous set of questions is actually the designer's best tool to gently pull that vision right out of you." To help you get that brief ready, we've organized these crucial questions into a playbook, covering 4 essential categories you absolutely need to define. 1. Core business. 2. Target audience. 3. Visual style. And 4. Critical details. All right, let's jump right into the foundation. Section 1. Core business. Defining beyond the name. The very first question they're going to ask is usually just the name of your company. But look, the name is just the baseline. Your designer really needs to know your exact industry to get a thorough, comprehensive feel for your space. Are you an educational institution? A retail brand? That context basically dictates every single thing that follows. And the difference is huge, depending on your answer. Designing an identity for, say, a consumer juice brand requires a totally different mindset than designing for a mechanical parts manufacturer. I mean, a juice brand needs to look refreshing, organic, and vibrant to catch the eye of thirsty consumers. But a mechanical products manufacturer, that logo needs to scream durability, precision, and industrial strength. If you don't clearly define your exact industry up front, the designers simply can't set the proper foundation. Moving right along to the next section, and this builds into what is arguably the most critical factor. Section 2, Target Audience. Knowing who is buying. Okay, so here is your homework as a client. You've got to break down your buyer into essential audience demographics. You need to know their age, their gender, their educational level, and their specific interests. And your designer is going to use this exact data as the absolute compass for the entire project. They aren't asking just to be nosy. They need this, because the demographic data completely changes the visual language they're going to use for your brand. To put that into perspective, let's look at geography and education. A highly technological, super complex design might work perfectly in an educated urban setting where people are, really familiar with those kinds of visual cues. But take that exact same logo to a rural area, and it might fail entirely to connect. Over there, a simpler, more direct, and less highly technical approach is usually required to build trust. Context is absolutely everything. Plus, user interests can vary drastically, even from city to city. It totally makes sense that coastal imagery and local beach interests dictate an entirely different color palette and design style compared to, say, mountainous inland regions. By bringing this hyper-local audience data to your designer, you are basically handing them the cheat code to make sure your logo actually works in the real world. So gathering that audience data is absolutely crucial. But next, you need to be able to communicate your own visual style. Section 3, Visual Style, Matching Your Vision. Do you already have a concept in mind? Now, you've got to be totally honest here. If you secretly have a vision or even just a specific concept floating around in your head, you must tell the designer immediately. Otherwise, they might go off in one direction, spending hours crafting this beautiful masterpiece while you are quietly expecting something completely different. And honestly, that just wastes their time and your money. No one wants that. But hey, what if you're starting totally from scratch? If you have absolutely zero ideas, take a deep breath, don't worry. Your designer can group together examples of the 7 main types of logos. Things like pictorial, emblem, abstract, and a few more, just to gauge your personal taste. They are literally trained to actively help you discover what you actually like. And the process usually flows beautifully through 3 simple steps. Step 1, you'll review a logo group image that the designer put together. Step 2, you just pick the specific types you naturally gravitate towards. And Step 3, the designer reviews your choices and provides further, much more targeted samples. It's great because it creates a clear, undeniable direction for the project so everyone is on the exact same page. Oh, and before your initial meeting, you should definitely note down if your brand already has a strict color scheme that has to be maintained, or if you have any specific fonts you just absolutely love. If you don't have any preferences, no problem at all. A good designer will suggest colors and fonts that match your audience data perfectly. But if you do have preferences, bringing them up early prevents so many frustrating revisions later on. Finally, let's look at the mechanical constraints that hold this whole project together. Section 4, critical details, logistics that drive design. Now, this is really interesting when you think about spatial relationships. If you want a slogan or a tagline included with your logo, you have to tell your designer immediately. Cramming a single line of text into an unplanned logo will completely ruin the visual balance of the whole design. The designer has to carefully calculate the spatial planning from day one to ensure the logo looks fantastic both with and without that extra text. Also, you must explicitly state your time frame. When exactly do you need this finished? Because if the final product misses the deadline, even if it's literally the most beautiful logo in the world, it leaves exactly one bad impression, and it hurts that professional relationship. Clear deadlines are absolutely crucial to keep both you and the designer accountable. So make sure you have total mutual understanding on all these final alignments. You really need to know exactly what the delivery timeframe is, exactly how many initial sketches you'll review, and the actual number of options you are paying to see. Setting these boundaries right off the bat protects both you as the client and the designer providing the service. You could easily Google the phrase Logo Design Questionnaire and find massive, exhaustive lists of questions that designers use. But honestly, if you start your prep with the core basics we just covered today, your exact industry, your targeted audience, your visual preferences, and your logistical constraints, achieving a great design is going to be so much easier. You won't just get a good logo, you'll be the dream client that every designer wants to work with. To wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with this. If a professional designer successfully entered your brain right this second, what core message would they actually find waiting to be drawn? Take the time to figure that out. Write it down, and I promise you, your next logo design project will be a massive success. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.